In a recent faith fragment, we saw how we always have God's truth to go back to as a reference for all the versions of thought and polity that we like to call truth. Similarly, we have God's version of what love means. Our definitions of love appear shallow and inadequate when put alongside what God says about his love and his demonstration of it in Jesus. In the Bible's renowned treatise on God's love in 1 Corinthians 13, Paul writes about how, in God's definition, love is giving and forgiving and unconditional. That's so different from the human kind of love which expects a response and is reserved for where it is deserved. When we experience God's love, it's a step change, a difference of category, what we call a paradigm shift. Why is God's way of loving so different? One answer is that our expressions of love, as well as having conditions attached, are situational. When we move on, or if the situation becomes different, our allegiance no longer applies. That's not wrong in itself, but it is limited and qualified. It's a cautious kind of love that is also self-protecting. God does not need to be any of these things because God is, always has been, and forever will be. And his love, like himself, is not defined by time, situation, or preference. The last sentence of that same Bible passage concludes, "And these three remain, faith, hope, and love, but the greatest of these is love." It's not just that they all have permanence, originate outside time. These are relational words which teach us how God relates and how we relate to him. By believing for the best, confidently expecting the best, and giving our best, this is how we, who are made in God's image, relate to him and indeed to others, the way he relates to us. Humanly, it's beyond us, but his Holy Spirit in us can give us this kind of love for others, even when nothing is coming back. We are called to be sacrificial, as Jesus modeled for us, and that's how we win the world over to God's cause as a faith, hope, and love movement.